I thought we performed really well. Usually we come back a week earlier, so we only had 4 days under our belt, and no matter, you could do everything right over break, and that first week's always going to be rough no matter what.
The talent level throughout the MIAA is not, separated. It's how they believe that they've been in environments before. So these guys will tell you, they feel like they left a lot on the table last year, and it wasn't because they were out-talented by anybody. It was just a matter of belief, sticking to our system.
Our kids, again, they just play hard. They play hard. So some of that's on us as a staff, trying to figure out, it's what we've done the past 2 days. We'll do it again today. How are we going to defend with very minimal post play, I think, is the challenge right now.
Us having a veteran group, we came together and realized that we had to mature a little bit, and then trying to take it into Kearney and just bounce back. And I think when we played Kearney, it was a great effort, just playing cohesive as together as a good unit. And I'm just happy we won.
You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph for our weekly Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. A day later than normal, campus was closed on the 20th of January for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and on this Tuesday, it is the first day of classes for the spring 2025 semester at Missouri Western State University. So for all of our athletes and students beginning a new semester, we certainly wish them the best of luck here this year. I'm Tommy Rezach. We're glad you're with us over the next hour. Lots to get to. Of course, we'll be talking a lot about basketball, of course, coming off of our road swing at Fort Hays State and Nebraska Kearney, and getting ready to be back home. That's always a good thing. The Griffons home for the next 3 games, men's and women's basketball, starting with 2 this week. We got Central Missouri on Wednesday, 5:30, 7:30 starts there, and then a Saturday afternoon against the Washburn Ichabods, 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. there. So a couple of rematches for our Griffons coming up. We had track and field this past weekend as they resumed the indoor season at Maryville at the Coach Alsop Invitational. Lots to talk about there in terms of school records, some provisional marks, a lot of good stuff by the Griffons coming out of break. And Missouri Western Track and Field, in fact, added a track meet to their schedule this week. That'll be at Pittsburgh, Kansas for the Rumble in the Jungle. That's at Pittsburgh State this Friday. Cody Ingold is here to tell us more about that a bit later on in the show. Last week, we previewed Missouri Western softball as they're getting ready to start their schedule. It's not this week, but next, but we're getting right down to it. About a week and a half to go until baseball, softball start. We talked to first-year softball coach Nicole Thompson last week. Well, this week we'll be talking some baseball with Damian Stambersky, getting ready for his second year as our head man. And then senior shortstop and second baseman Blake Anderson. He's a fairly local guy coming out of Lenexa, Kansas, transferred in last year from Johnson County Community College. One of our lead returning hitters, in fact, going to be back for the Griffons in his senior year. So Blake Anderson will join Coach Stambersky, and we'll talk some Missouri Western baseball in the program today. Yeah, Ashton Feldhaus of Missouri Western women's basketball. We'll discuss the week that was. Obviously, a terrific win at Fort Hays State on Thursday, a top 10 opponent, and then an always tricky Nebraska Kearney, as that's who we played on Saturday. Back and forth game, came down to single digits. The Lopers getting that win on Saturday. So a split for both men's and women's basketball. And what I think I said this on the air, what I think is not only obviously one of the furthest road trips, always one of the toughest. 2 tough places to play in Hays and Kearney, men's and women's basketball. Always just very competitive, very good. And so that's if you can split those 2, I think that's still a pretty decent weekend on the road. And that's what men's basketball had, as they're now 12-6 on the year. A loss at Fort Hays State, a team that had beat Northwest as well this week, but then bouncing back really, really well at Nebraska Kearney on Saturday. I would say one of the more fluid games of the season. We'll see if Coach Martin agrees. I think he would. The Griffons did not trail the entire game, shot north of 50%, put up 86 points, which is the most they've scored against a Division II opponent this year. 86-73 was the final there at Kearney on Saturday afternoon. And I know there was some other sporting event going on Saturday afternoon in our region, so for those of you that stuck with us and stuck with the Griffs during that. Certainly we appreciate that. And like the women's basketball team, our men will be home to face Central Missouri first on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. And then we'll play Washburn on Saturday. And, of course, Washburn's still at top of the heap in the MIAA, now number 1 in the country, are the Ichabod men at 17-0. And we'll have our coaches roundtable at the end with Coach Stambersky, Feldhaus, Will Martin, and Cody Ingold as well. So that's what we've got going here this week. Quick note on basketball. It'll be a whiteout theme for both Wednesday and Saturday. The first 50 students through the door will receive a white rally towel. So be sure to get out there and support the Griffs tomorrow night and Saturday night. Couple big rematches against Central Missouri and Washburn. And then the following week will be off until February 1st. So our basketball bye week will be coming up after the games on Saturday. And then we get to rest for a week and then host Northwest Missouri State on Saturday, February the 1st. So that's what we got going. With that, we'll take a quick break and we'll lead things off with indoor track and field. Like I said, coming off of a really solid showing at the Hughes Fieldhouse in Maryville. In the Coach Alsup Invitational, we'll recap that and preview a meet that's coming up in just 3 days, this Friday in Pittsburgh, Kansas, the Rumble in the Jungle. So we'll talk with Coach Ingold next. You're listening to the GSI Podcast live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, and we'll be back right after this. We continue on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, talking indoor track and field now with the head coach, Cody Ingold. And Cody, it feels like forever since you've been up here. We were off a couple weeks ago due to the snow, and then you had a practice last week, and now here we are the day after, Monday the 21st, and coming off a great meet there on Saturday. But just in general, how's 2025? How good of are you having a good start to the new year?
Every day is great, Tommy, but if I'm looking to find a second job so I can get my kid into private school because public schools keep canceling school, and I'm tired of watching my son. I spent over 31 straight days with him. He's a great 6-year-old. He's an awesome kid, but I wasn't built to be around children for that long, even my own. I'm a little tired. I'm tired, and then there was a book release. My wife's a reading person. They had this, I think it's called Onyx Storm, was released today. And they had a party last night for the book release, Tommy. Okay. I'm getting old. And I was up way too late, and we had practice at 6 a.m. So I'm dragging. I'm a 8 to 10 hour sleep kind of guy. And if you can't tell, I always look like this. Who are we kidding? Whether I get good sleep or bad sleep. I'm tired, but 2025 is going to be a good year.
Yeah. Well, you trimmed your beard.
That was also an accident. I thought I put the clip on the shave and went woof, and it was gone. I didn't start somewhere where I could fix it. I always go straight down the center. And and the next day I was on the news with Kyle, and it looked like I was 12. So,
Western Wednesdays, a weekly morning program on News Press now with our own Kyle Schmidt. But let's talk about what happened on Saturday. Your first meet back after the break, and 2 school records fall, a couple of first-place finishes. Obviously, Alex Thompson doing so well in the hurdles, and Mackenzie Garr, a walk-off win there in shot put. Alyssa Mahoney excelling as well. A number of provos. Mahoney getting a win there in the weight throw. So, ultimately, pretty good. I know you're taking on Southern, Northwest Truman, a lot of NAIA JUCO flavor as well from the region. Just you talked to Dugan afterwards, I know, but just thoughts on how your team kind of came back from break and really prepared and performed out there.
I thought we performed really well. Usually we come back a week earlier, so we only had 4 days under our belt, and no matter, you could do everything right over break, and that first week's always going to be rough no matter what. But, with weather and lack of access to indoor facilities and that throughout the region, there, a lot of stuff wasn't done. Maybe we did enough to be competitive, but, so that first meet's always a little bit scary. That's why we held some people back, just because we weren't trying to start the year in a funk. But, I thought it went really well. The hurdle, Alex Thompson, hurdling well off of literally no hurdling for over 5 weeks was nice. He was mad. The next with hurdlers and jumpers and things like that, when you get to a certain point, like he's at 8:03, I think his PR 8:04, and so the next point is to break 8, right? And like for jumpers, you want to get that next meter, and so he's just trying too hard to hit those marks, and so we gotta. I'm just trying to rein them in and tell them to focus on what we're trying to do and do those, and things will come. Good things will come. So, that was encouraging. Lillian ran fantastic in the in the 1K, and she's set up to do something pretty special. Be the first person to break 5 in the mile, I think, and here in a couple weeks. So that'd be another school record if she figures that out. She's kind of trying to. She told me she wanted to take every record she possibly could going into this year. So.
Nice.
It was exciting and refreshing to see her and her sister run really, really well. So yeah, and obviously you can't. I didn't mean to skip over them, but the throws are obviously really good.
Yeah.
So those two still have a lot more in the tank, which is good. Jordan's not backing off. We're trying to throw well at conference and nationals. We're not trying to. We don't care about December. We do care, but we don't care about just whatever meet January 17th, 18th, whatever weekend happened this weekend. So, sorry I rambled a little bit there.
No, that was good. Great start. Mackenzie Garr now ranks number 2 in NCAA Division II in women's shot put. Oh, 3. Okay.
Sorry. 3. There's 2 tied at 1578, so she's 1 centimeter down from leading the nation.
Okay. And in U.S. measurements, she threw for 51 feet 9 inches, a school record and a first place victory there at Northwest on Saturday, a provisional mark, of course. And Alyssa Mahoney 4th in shot put. And you mentioned Lillian Cutler, her sister Bailey, also running on this team. And Lillian, I know, carried a lot in the cross country season, finished 2nd in the 1,000 meter on Saturday, setting a school record there, 3 minutes 2.48 seconds. A lot of the people that we talked about, Mahoney, Mackenzie Garr, and Alex Thompson, I think those are folks that we expected to do well given their career and given last year. Anyone so far that, whether it was Saturday or just in general, anyone that's surprising you or maybe further along than you thought they might be?
Our women's jumpers, Haley Sampson and Abby Henry, look really, really good. And there's a lot more in the tank. We're just got to fine-tune some stuff, which coming into the year, if you had told me they were going to be that good, Abby was good out of high school, but Haley, we haven't really connected well in college because we were more focused on running. And this year was the first year where I was like, hey, let's focus on jumping and sprinting. So those two for sure. I think we'll have some surprises in the middle distance side in the next couple weeks, but we'll kind of wait and see what that looks like.
Yeah, Haley Sampson, definitely a name I recognize, a standout wrestler for Mid-Buchanan, actually graduated from North Platte High School and wrestled, and they co-op with Mid-Buck. So Haley Sampson, a local athlete, a multi-sport athlete, and she placed in long jump, placed 3rd, along with Abby Henry placing 5th in long jump there. Well, you added a meet. I know this is not uncommon. You add a meet this Friday in Pittsburgh. Rumble in the Jungle, that's a big facility that we've competed in a lot over the years. Just who you taking down and what's kind of the hope there on Friday?
This is the last meet where we'll try to get everybody in because from here on out it's going to be tough to get everybody into meets. There's only so much room in buildings, so they limit entries a lot of times. So I thought we can get most of our people one last run. So we'll bring everybody. It's going to be a D2 only meet, which is nice. I hate scored meets outside of conference, and so it's scored, and that's a little bit different because they're scoring it, and you're just planning on trying to run a couple events, and we're trying to win them. We're not trying to win the meet. It's not like an invitational in high school where you just try to win every meet. So, but I'm excited. We're opening up some distance kids that haven't done anything. Maddie Nash will race for the first time in 13 months.
That's great.
14 months, something like that. So that's huge. There's been a long process getting back to this. So. Pumped to watch her run, and she's not running any of her specialties, but just get on the track, figure it out one time before we start ramping it up over the next couple weeks. So I'm really, really excited to see her run. I think we should break a few records on the distance side, so I'm excited.
Yeah, Maddie Nash now has those RN letters next to her name as well, getting her nursing degree here from Missouri Western, of course, all MIAA accolades in her past. So you got 6 regular season meets in the indoor season left. 3 of those 6 are in Pittsburgh. You got Washburn on there a couple times. You go back to Northwest. Is that more than years past, having that many meets still before conference?
Well, some of those are like the same day,
kind
same
of
weekend.
Split. Yeah, that's
so,
right. Yeah.
And there's one that's actually not on there that we never put on there, that we have a last chance meet that we always do with Northwest. So it is, we added an extra meet because usually we don't start this weekend, we start the next, but the schedule's pushed back because it's a festival year. So everything's moved back at least, I think it's 2 weeks, which is wild because what that does is makes outdoor like 4 weeks long. But that's fine. That's everybody has to do it. It's not like it's just us. So
this Friday in Pitt, I imagine 10, 11 a.m. start for things?
Throws start at noon, but running doesn't start till 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We'll be there sitting around for a while, and then we'll be back really late.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Bit of a drive down there.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not too bad.
No.
I mean, we go there and we go to Northwest, so it's
Topeka.
Yeah, we'll sneak in a meet or two or a couple events at Topeka. So it's a nice facility. It'll be a good run meet. It'll be nice to kind of stack up. We'll actually see our former assistant for the first time, Coach Dotson, who has helped start the program. So that'll be cool. Like I said, we're going to open up some kids that haven't run, so I'm excited for that.
Yep, that's this Friday, starting at noon from the, I forget the name of that arena down there.
Robert Plaster Center, isn't it?
John something Center. I looked this up this morning. It's the same place where they play basketball. It's John Lance Arena.
Well, that's the arena. The tracks, actually. I think Robert R. Plaster or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe.
The big building.
Yes, the one next to the smaller building, yes.
Okay, well, it's in Pittsburgh, Kansas, on the Pitt State campus. No, it's okay. This Friday with events starting at noon, Missouri Western adding an indoor track meet this Friday. So we'll keep track of the scoring. We'll have a recap on our website at gogriffins.com as the Griffins come off of a strong performance this past Saturday in Maryville for the Coach Alsup Invitational. Coach Ingold, good to see you. Look forward to having you back on the roundtable
Thanks,
as well.
Tommy.
All right.
I'll be there.
There you go. Cody Ingold leading us off here on the program here today. We'll take a break, and like I talked about earlier, we're starting to think about spring sports a little bit. We previewed softball last week. We'll preview baseball today with infielder Blake Anderson and head coach Damian Stambersky. That's coming up in just a minute. You're listening to the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Rolling on from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach as our spring sports previews kind of continue this week. Missouri Western baseball, no, not opening this week, but it is coming right up, of course, a week from this Friday. Missouri Western will be down in Searcy, Arkansas to take on the Harding. I think they're the Bison, I'm pretty sure, but they're playing Harding in 4 games next weekend. And here to talk about it, they've been hard at work at practice in his second year as the head coach, third year on campus, Damian Stambersky. And joining us is a senior playing second base and shortstop from Overland Park, Kansas. He joined us from Johnson County Community College a little over a year ago. Blake Anderson. Gentlemen, welcome. How we doing? Season's coming up. Just what's the vibe like in practice right now?
We're doing well, just focusing on stacking the days, focusing on our process and our routines and preparing for the season so we go in with confidence.
Yeah. Damian, I know it's been cold out and the dirt is covered by a lot of snow still, but just in general, how have you liked the work and the energy so far?
Well, you could definitely see the progression from one week to the next. You come back after taking 6 to 8 weeks off, and our facilities, we are absolutely blessed to be able to do something very similar to baseball, take out a fly ball, but we just scrimmaged a junior college in our facility on last Friday, and you could just see the starstruck feeling that their organization had, like, man, they're playing baseball. And from one week to the next, I think we've grown a lot just by being able to have those repetitions, even though it's 4 degrees outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that work in the indoor for sure. You had a pretty veteran group last year, a number of fifth-year guys, 14 total seniors. You hit 20 wins, which it had been a few years since we did that. A really strong start to the year. Series wins against St. Cloud and Northeastern here at home. Now, looking at the offseason, once again, you had a lot of JUCO talent, so you added some pitchers there. But other than like roster, what have you and your team and your staff? There's been some staff updates as well. Just what has this team been working on the most since last May?
Well, building a culture and a belief structure, the talent level throughout the MIAA is not, separated. It's how they believe that they've been in environments before. So these guys will tell you, they feel like they left a lot on the table last year, and it wasn't because they were out-talented by anybody. It was just a matter of belief, sticking to our system, playing for each other as opposed to any kind of selfish wants or needs, which I don't think we had a massive problem with that, but baseball really puts that out in the forefront. If you get outside of what you're supposed to do for us at that moment, the game will steamroll you. So.
Absolutely. Well, I want to talk about Andrew Moritz, who joined your staff this past fall. Spent 5 years playing for the Atlanta Braves organization. A lot of different experience, and up to AA, single A, and the like. Played collegiately at UNC Greensboro. Just how did you get to know Andrew, and how's he finding life in St. Joe?
Well, he played for a guy that I think the world of, and Link Jarrett, the current head coach at Florida State, and Link was connected to one of my buddies who's the current head coach at Wichita State, Brian Green. So definitely a hitting guru that I come up looking up to, and when I saw that he was looking for a job, we definitely gave him a call, and I was actually sitting next to a riverbed in Colorado, and we had about a 90-minute conversation about offense. So we hated to see Coach Watkins move on to another part of his life, but when he came in and gave me the news, kind of got a tap on the shoulder that said, hey, you're going to go back and do the pitching. So I knew when we were looking for a new assistant coach, I needed a guy that was kind of a baseball rat and just wanted to get into the trenches with the hitters. So I'll let Anderson talk to what Coach Moritz has kind of brought to, because Coach Brown is obviously doing a great job with our hitters, but I think having another guy to throw BP and be there just as another sounding board and remove me from it to go work with the pitchers, I think has been invaluable. I'll let Blake speak to that.
Yeah, Blake, I guess anything to add from that just now?
Yeah, it's been great having Coach Moritz in there every day helping us out. He's got professional experience. He talks us through, obviously, the mechanics of hitting, how to create good movements to produce a swing to hit to all fields, but also he can talk about his day-to-day, how to go about being a pro, and I kind of can learn from that and apply that to every day here at Missouri Western.
Yeah, Blake Anderson, for those that don't know, played his first couple years at Johnson County Community College, and in fact was, before even that, was a member of the Emporia State football team in 2021. 2 years at Johnson County, then last year for the Griffins, one of the top hitters with an average of .333, a team best 55 hits, starting in 43 games. And staying with offense, Blake, I mean, looking at the stats from last year, 4 of the top 5 hitters, just in terms of average coming back. You got some experience in that lineup. Just, I don't know, when you're looking at it and get the bats popping, just what's the ceiling for this offense right now, do you think?
I think we're going to have a good year offensively. Yeah. That was, it's nice having a lot of returners that had a lot of at-bats last year, but we all kind of made some self-assessments at the end of the season, look where we could improve, and work throughout the fall, building on that and coming in this year even better.
Yeah. And now, Damian, just like the years prior, you got a mess of pitchers, a lot of them on the roster. You get a starter back, at least a guy with starting experience in Lyndon Brugman. But when you look at the numbers from last year, there's a lot of new faces, and you brought in some JUCO talent. I know you've kind of hung your hat on that, so to speak. A lot of kids like Blake who start off at JUCO and end up coming here. Just in terms of pitching, how's that progressing, and who are some guys that are catching your eye right now?
The guys that are really standing out are the returners. I think they've got a little bit more experience in the system, how we do things, what the expectation is. I think I told the group yesterday, our system has a lot of bandwidth, and we can't just roll out there and expect to out-talent people. We have to actually pay attention to the details. So a guy like Gunnar Narker has really emerged as a guy. He I don't want to say Cadillac'd it, but he put it on cruise control his sophomore year in junior college, and we expected to get one thing and we got something else. So that was a hard conversation that he embraced at the end of last year, and boy, he has been dedicated to his craft. So against that junior college, it was very impressive to see what he can be. He's an impressive young man with his work ethic and his leadership ability. Lyndon's back, obviously. Lyndon is an extremely talented arm. He's yet to do it at I would say at an all-conference, all-region type clip, but he's definitely talented enough to do it. It's a low to mid-90s fastball with 2 breaking balls. I mean, he's just got to believe that he belongs, because he absolutely does. So in terms of junior college talent, there's a couple guys from Indian Hills that are very special athletes. They deal with some of the same demons that I think Lyndon's dealt with over time, and it's, believing they have a seat at the table. So that's a big part of what we try to do here, is empower each athlete to compete with confidence, know that they're not measured by their results, and can develop championship processes that let them be successful over time. So both Lou Levy and Logan Winkleman were just absolutely lights out against the junior college we just played. So they've got a lot of experience, and look forward to seeing what they bring to the table.
Now, did you guys, I know softball does, I should know this for sure, but does baseball, did you guys scrimmage anyone in the fall then?
We did. We did state fair. We were still trying to kind of find ourselves and figure out what we were doing. But I want to move away from that and use our scrimmages, which we have 3 a year. I want to use them specifically in the spring, kind of as a spring training type of, like what we're doing right now. So we got Baker next weekend. We'll do a similar thing. If the weather cooperates enough, we'll get out on the turf and do it. I don't foresee that happening, but we're going to play 28 innings inside the Gist, starting at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and we'll put the Gist to bed at night. So it'll be good.
Yeah, sounds good. Wanted to ask you about something in the offseason now. I know this has been on the minds and the hearts of a lot of us around here. Jackson Grayson, he's a redshirt freshman playing outfield for Missouri Western from Kansas City, a graduate of Park Hill High School. You may or may not have seen it, involved in a car accident in November, and shortly thereafter underwent a surgery for a spinal injury. Now, by all accounts, the surgery was a success, and he's on the road to recovery. And, Coach, I know part of that's been locally at KU Med, but I know another part of that has been out of state in a facility that deals with this sort of thing in Denver. It's been obviously been a couple of months, and again, we're praying and pulling for Jackson. Just what kind of update can you provide there?
First and foremost is he is cognitive. He's trapped in his own body. That is the hardest part ever. Is he's paralyzed from the neck down right now. When the wreck initially happened, he was paralyzed from the rib cage down. So it's progressively kind of regressed, and but there is light at the end of the tunnel. We just don't know how long that tunnel is. So what I was saying is he came up with this wristband idea. It was his quote and his Bible passage. He wanted to tell everybody to keep moving forward. He's been through it, and he just keeps going through it. So his dad's a former Griff, so I know he has no issues with me telling his story right now. But the car wreck was on November 3rd. They took him to KU Med. He had a severe C3 through C6 injury. They put a bracket in there that stabilized the neck, allowed him to get on the road to recovery. During that time, they thought Craig Spine Clinic out in Denver would be the best route for him to go through his rehab. And we've had another former Griff, his name's jumping out of my head, but Ryan could give it to me, that went through a similar spinal injury, but he actually went to Omaha, and that young man is up walking, having a normal life. He's got a family, all that. So we've tried to connect those two, and Grayson is very optimistic about what he's going through, but it's kind of taken a step back. Every 2 steps he takes forward, he takes another punch in the belly. So once he got out there, they couldn't figure out why, but the spinal column kept taking on swelling. So they put on right next to Craig is another hospital. They put a kind of a pump that drains the fluid off his spinal cord. So he would get sensation, lose sensation. He would get movement out of his arms, lose it. So they put in this permanent drain that allowed him to move forward, and that's been where we were for the past 2 weeks. We were about to jump on a phone call with him because he was having a lot of forward progress. He was getting to eat meals and drink and all that stuff again, and pull out the breathing apparatus, and he just immediately slid back. There was a test that happened that found a hole in the back of his trach, and if he'd have gone 1 day of eating real foods with that hole, he would have had a serious infection. But luckily they found it. Yeah. They got that sealed back up, put a better bracket in, and he's now forward moving again. So just the man just keeps taking steps forward and keeps taking gut punches, but his outlook and his perspective is just otherworldly. He's absolutely a hero in our eyes. So to everybody out there, just keep the whole Grayson family, Jackson's whole family in your thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I know there's a GoFundMe that was started for him, and they've raised some funds there. And Blake, kind of just piggybacking off of that keep moving forward and thinking of Jackson. I mean, how much is that going to drive this team? How much is it driving this group right now?
It is. I mean, he's a true inspiration to all of us on, how to handle adversity and just inspire us to go out there and compete for him, because, he would love to be there with us, and we're just praying for him every single day.
Amen to that. Well, let's look ahead to some baseball now. Not this weekend, but next. A couple of doubleheaders that will play at Harding next weekend. Now, the first 10 games for baseball will be on the road. 8 of those 10, Central Region competition. We play Arkansas Monticello right after there in early February. And the home opener is less than a month away. We'll take on Missouri St. Louis February 18th. And then right after that, we open conference play with Coach Stambersky's former home, Central Missouri, a team fresh off of a D2 World Series appearance this past year. Coach, just any thoughts on the scheduling? I know you schedule. There's always some good regional tests, possibly some ranked teams that'll be in there once the polls come out. But on the road to start, that's nothing new either. Just any thoughts on the schedule?
Yeah, we wanted to play teams that were going to be in playoff contention. So Coach McGahey down at Harding has done a phenomenal job of creating a powerhouse down there. And Monticello has got a really good program, and I've known them from a time when we went to the World Series. We actually eliminated eliminated them in 2016. But ever since then, meeting Coach Harvey, that we just speak a very similar language. So getting an opportunity to open against some hopefully warmer weather. It looks like 53 down there. But getting to open against some regional teams and super regional teams, that was the design. And to go beat them, not just play with them, but go beat them. And they know that. They know the type of system that we want to run and the type of talent that we have. So looking forward to getting out there. And I think we've got something, I don't even know how many games at the beginning, but we face top 25 talent within I think every game except for Truman State and Drury.
Okay. So. Yeah, Minnesota State on the schedule. That's always catches your attention. That'll be a game. There's an event, the Southern Lion Classic in Joplin, February 14th through the 16th. Griffins play Truman, Drury, Minnesota State down there. And then February 18th, a Tuesday, against Missouri St. Louis. And then the first conference series that could not have asked for better just in terms of caliber of talent. February 21st through the 23rd, the Griffins will host the Mules of Central Missouri, a team that ended in the top 5, another conference championship. And Coach Stambo knows as well as we all do that they have been the cream of the crop in our conference there for a while. So great opportunity to see the best right there at home to open things up. So hopefully we'll get that snow melted off and it'll be a little bit warmer than it was this morning. That is, again, senior infielder playing second base and shortstop Blake Anderson with the head coach Damian Stambersky. Gentlemen, thanks so much. Thanks for the time, and good luck next week.
Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, thanks for coming up, guys. There's Missouri Western baseball here on this part of the program. We'll take a break and enter our next half hour. We'll talk some basketball. We'll start with the women's. Ashton Feldhaus will join us next. Will Martin and Julius Dixon are here to represent men's hoops, so we'll talk to them in our roundtable as well. Coming up in the next half hour on the GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, it's the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. I'm Tommy Rezach as we shift gears to women's basketball. Missouri Western coming into the week at 11-5 overall, 6-2 in the MIAA, going out on the road westward. We were at Fort Hays State on Thursday, Nebraska Kearney Saturday. And, Coach, we start with the good. That's always a tough place to play there. 7th-ranked Fort Hays State. And, man, what another classic with those guys. Kind of similar script. We get down early. We come back. It's tight. It's down to the last second. But Missouri Western able to win it 70-69. And what more can you say other than just everybody who saw the floor, and everybody did play in that game, everyone played a hand in that big victory Thursday night?
Yeah, it was a blast for us. That was the first game because you talked about everybody, and Kelsey Johnson's the one that really, she played great for us. But we talked about it after the game. We lost in almost every statistical category on the stat sheet. The only thing we did efficiently was shooting. And when you're trading 2s for 3s, because everyone's doing the same thing right now, they're hammering us in the post. So, and their post players played great, but we shot the ball really, really well. So, and you're right, we got down, made a comeback, and kind of made them play our style for a little bit, got some stops early, got up early. It's like that typical roller coaster of our game. But we made plays down the stretch. Cassie Karen, I think she had her moments there. She did 8 straight points, and she kind of just put us on her back and attacked their big man. So we have some versatility and ways to exploit. And then, again, we had to make a lot of adjustments in the game, and I thought our kids were great with that. So, it was exciting. Fort Hays is fantastic. They're well coached, great kids too. It's just fun playing them.
Yeah, Hayes' only losses this year are to Missouri Western, both times by a point, and then Hayes kind of took some frustrations out on Northwest on Saturday, getting a big win there. But we were in Kearney on Saturday taking on the Lopers, and a pretty good start in a game in which I was having some technical difficulties in the second half, so if you didn't hear me, that's why, and trying to multitask and all that. But, competitive game. You're up 4 at halftime, up 1 start of the 4th, and then Kearney kind of sets the tone there, right? A 10-0 run, and you guys had some baskets there, able to get close, but just not close enough. 73-65. Kearney wins it. I know lengthwise, size-wise, that's always a tough matchup year in, year out, and they're able to get some stops, get some boards there at the end. We unfortunately weren't playing with Jaden Schomp and Cassie Karen fouling out there at the end. Just thoughts on just kind of that 4th quarter and what you were seeing there late?
In all 5 of our losses, we have, on average, we're losing the rebounding margin by 15 plus. So, and that was another game we got out-rebounded by 18. And when they've got 6 offensive rebounds and converting on, there's just more possessions for the opposing team. So we talk about it all the time, and we have to do a better job as a staff of making rebounding just habitual for our team because it comes in waves for us. We do really good a couple games in a row, and then we'll lose by 15 plus. And every game we've done that, we've lost. So the rebounding margin is the one thing that just stands out. So we're trying to make it a habit and keep it in the back of their heads because there's so many things things game to game that we're changing, as far as, you mentioned we're not having Jaden, right? So that's 6'3". She does bring nothing but length in the post. And you're right, without her, she's having some swelling right now on her knee. So trying to get her back into it. And then Cassie in foul trouble. We've had to not reinvent the wheel, but talk about just how we're going to defend differently, because we are so outsized in the post. And teams they're smart enough to figure that out. So, yeah, I was, again, had chances to win the game and didn't play great, getting out-rebounded 18, and you're right in it, 2 possessions with 2 minutes left. It's one that, we wanted to pick up on the road for sure. But, I don't know. Our kids, again, they just play hard. They play hard. So some of that's on us as a staff, trying to figure out, it's what we've done the past 2 days. We'll do it again today. How are we going to defend with very minimal post play, I think is the challenge right now.
Yeah, I know you said Jaden Schomp, it's kind of just a day-by-day deal.
Yeah, she had obviously back-to-back ACL surgeries. So when we're moving and we have those weeks where there's 2 games and she's playing high minutes, it just swells on her and we have a hard time getting full extension. So obviously our athletic training staff does a great job, but we're not going to ask her to do something she can't do. So I'm not sure if she'll play for us tomorrow or not. She wasn't in practice yesterday, but she works at it and we'll take her as many minutes as we can get her. But if not, we'll just adjust and next man up and kind of move on.
Yeah, I know we feel for her, someone that's kind of just been waiting for her moment in our starting lineup, and she's been through the ringer in her career, so certainly wish her the best. Missouri Western entering this week now still firmly in 3rd place in these MIAA standings, 6-2 overall. Down to 11 games to go. We're home for our next 3. We got rematches coming up here this week with Central Missouri and Washburn. Now UCM, they've started to bounce back. There's something about teams who lose to the Griffs that just play really well thereafter. Central Missouri bouncing back this past week, beating Emporia State and Newman, and talked about it the last time. They have arguably the best all-around player in terms of a forward in Bailey Schaaf, who's been leading our league in scoring and rebounding. They're 11-8, and kind of a thing there where we started slow and then 2nd through 4th quarter, shooting it well, defending them well, and you stop their other big freshman Taylor Weiser, who grew up minutes from where we're sitting, grew up in Wathena, Kansas. Thoughts on this rematch with the Jennies?
Yeah, you talked about Bailey. She's hard to handle. She's a mismatch for everyone in our league. Her and then obviously Katie from Fort Hays, they kind of play about the same. So, we have a hard time defending her, and she played great against us, but we rebounded. So we limited to one and done, and everything she made against us, I know she scored a lot, but we had a hand in her face. There's not too many times we let her get open. So we talk about that all the time. Jesse and Laura will have that matchup and just say, make it tough on her, right? And when you're a great player, which she is, she's going to go and get hers. It's can we manage everyone else? So rebounding and defense is going to be what it is for us, and then they're going to just go smash mouth basketball in the post the entire game. So can we push pace? Can we dictate both, not only offensively, but defensively is going to be the challenge. So, I don't know, another exciting matchup. And then they jumped in a zone, and we didn't respond very well. So we kind of got some answers for that, I think, this time around. So, it should be another exciting one. We're just glad to be home.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a long road trip.
Yes, it was. And then Saturday presents a unique challenge. For the first time this year, we're rematching with a team that has beaten us previously. That would be Washburn, and I've said it repeatedly, that's just a better team. You feel like Laura Wessling was building. We're rebuilding her first 2 years. Well, now she's got some pieces, and the Ichabods are 4-1 in their last 5 games, and they too scored wins against Emporia State and Newman. One big problem, literally and figuratively, that's their center Yabari Widada, who's provides a lot of size and length, and now she's shooting about 70% from the field, all at the rim. But that's nothing new, right? When we talk about mismatches on the inside, just how do you go about Washburn this second time?
You just bring all the size and length that you have, which we don't have much, and you just try to make it tough on her. Try to limit her touches, I will say that, but when she's that big, and she can just maneuver multiple people at the same time. So we have to scout that game, figuring out who we can double down off of, jumping in a zone to kind of throw them off a little bit, and slow the game down as far as them coming at us, because we just play. I'll be very honest, we played terrible there. Defensively, we were an abomination, and then offensively, we shot it well, but we never really got in a flow. Like, we're better when we can go stops and scores. That's how we get the pace, and we never got it when we were there. So, I'm just hoping effort and energy is a little better than the last time we played them. And again, we'll try to throw some things at them to make it challenging for her, because she's just dominant inside.
Games on tomorrow, Wednesday at 5:30, and then Saturday at 1:30, and then off for a week from games leading up to February 1st. That's got to be a good thing, right? Give people some rest there.
I think it comes at a perfect time for us. I really do, because we were just on the road, and that was a long trip, and now we're home, and everyone can use some rest. So those weeks are good for us too, especially for Kendall and I. We take some time and kind of adjust and get get some time to really break down where we are to this point and how we want to move forward, get the girls healthy, hopefully Jaden back. We've got some just lingering, it's that time of the season, it's a long season, so lingering, nagging injuries that we can kind of, rest them for a bit, but still get better. We're still such a work in progress. Like, we're changing things daily, and the girls are responding. We have such a good group, so we can't wait for that week.
Well, I remarked on the air, it was probably Thursday, that you said in October that at the very least you wanted to surprise some people. You wanted to shock some people and make people go, well, they're still Missouri Western. And I know, nothing's perfect, obviously, and still a work in progress, as you said. But, man, to sweep Fort Hays State, to get that win against Kearney earlier this month, to beat some of the people you have, to go into UCM and win by double digits, that happens hardly ever under Dave Slifer. So, 16 games in, I know you're still working on things, but at the very least, you guys have shown some fight against some perennials here.
Yeah, I think, and I've said it before, it's you know far more history than I do, right? But our standard is our standard, so regardless of who we're playing. So I think we've let some slip through our hands. Sure. I really do. Like on Saturday, I did not think we executed well at all down the stretch. And there's some games, like obviously we went to Colorado. There was a lot of factors that went into that, but certainly wasn't our best showing. So I don't know. I still want better, I think, is a good way to put it. I don't want to finish the season going, well, they shocked some people. Especially for my seniors, like for Alyssa and Tilly, I want like the best possible season for them moving forward, and they know what's at stake, right? So I know they're frustrated. They were so frustrated after we lost at Washburn, and then this Saturday as well. So it's not a team, thankfully, that just goes, we're surprising some people. Sure. They want to win every game, and so do we as a staff. So we're fortunate, obviously, and I'm glad we're winning some on the road. Obviously, beating Fort Hays is huge for us, but I don't like the half and half weeks, right? Yeah. Like you do something really good and then you go on the road to a team that we could have beaten, just kind of let it slip through your fingers. So we have some maturing to do, I think is a good way to put it. We're just, again, still such a work in progress and, halfway through the season, but we don't ever stop with that. Yeah,
11 wins down and 11 games still to go on the schedule, in the next 3 at home, and they're going to be, I think, compelling games. And they're all rematches, too. You got Central Missouri tomorrow, Washburn on Saturday, then we take a break until February 1st against Northwest. So get out there, be loud. It's whiteout night. That's the theme on Wednesday, Saturday. There'll be those white rally towels for the students in attendance. So, wear something Griffon white if you can, and be loud for this bunch and for Will Martin's bunch as well. That's the women's head basketball coach, Ashton Feldhaus. Coach, good to see you. Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, there you go. Ashton Feldhaus joining us on this part of the program. We still got to talk men's basketball, so we'll take a break. Julius Dixon, a senior, and, of course, our head coach, Will Martin, will talk to us when we come back. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Moving on our GSI podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill, I'm Tommy Rezonch. We talk men's basketball now with the head coach, Will Martin, and joining us, we always love it when our athletes are able to join us, and we've gotten to know this guy well over the years, a 6'7" senior guard/forward from Fayetteville, Tennessee, an all-MIAA selection from a couple years ago, Julius Dixon. Julius, welcome, and Coach, welcome to you guys. How are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, always nice coming off a win, right, Coach? How about you?
Doing great.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the week. We were at Fort Hays State on Thursday, and that's always a tough place to play just in terms of environment and the style that they play, which is defensive heavy. Fort Hays State coming away with a 61-50 win. And Coach, I know we talked a lot about it Thursday and again Saturday. I think it started out about as we thought it would, close, low scoring, both defenses playing well. And we're in a decent spot there in the second half, up 7 points with 12 minutes to go. But then they're able to get on some runs. Caleb Hammocky doing what he does, a veteran guard in their system, and we're of course playing without Zion Swader on Thursday. I know we've kind of moved past it, but just recapping Thursday, just thoughts on how that unfolded.
Yeah, you go into the trip with a little bit of adversity. No starting point guard in Zion. Josh Book, who's our backup point guard, he's out for the season, and then didn't have an assistant coach. But we have 8 seniors, and we've been talking about our experience for a reason. Like, you have to overcome that. And for 28 minutes of that game, we looked like a really cohesive, good basketball team. For 12 minutes, we were the worst basketball team that we've been all year. And I told you on the air on Friday, we had to have a little bit of a come-to-Jesus meeting with the team. And, just like they've done all year, I think they responded well. In that 12-minute period, we had 6 turnovers. We had 5 early contested mid-range jumpers, which we just don't do. And then defensively, we got blown by 8 times. And so the guys had to take accountability for that. Obviously, we as a staff always take ownership and accountability for our part in not preparing the guys to be ready to do that. But, we had to watch that film and all take extreme ownership, and that can't be who we are. And then, Saturday I thought that the team had a great response in terms of just controlling the pace of the game for 40 minutes. And we've needed that. You and I have talked a lot. We've had some really good first halves, some really good second halves. We've had 40-minute games where we've been great offensively but not great defensively. We've had great defensive nights where we weren't great offensively. And I felt like Kearney was probably the first game of the year that 1 through 15, we were great for 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, you never trailed. You got off to a great start, hit your first couple shots. It's 21-11 there in the first half, and we never trailed, winning at Kearney 86-73. And tough place to play there, too, on the men's side. It had been almost 3 years since we had one there. The Griffins shot it well. I mean, free throws were big in that game, 21 of 24, 50.9% from the field, and the most points put up in a conference game, in a Division II game this year. And Julius Dixon tying a season high with 18 points, tied a career high with 11 rebounds for his third career double-double in a Griffin uniform. And Juice, I think Coach said it all, but what a smooth and satisfying bounce back after a frustrating ending there on Thursday night.
It was really just when we played Fort Hayes, like I said, Coach Will really just emphasized that last 12 minutes wasn't really us not playing together how we were supposed to play. And then I think us having a veteran group, we came together and realized that we had to mature a little bit, and then trying to take it into Kearney and just bounce back. And I think when we played Kearney, it was a great effort, just playing cohesive as together as a good unit. And I'm just happy we won and was able to bounce back.
And to get your teammate Zion back, 15 points, 7 for 7 at the foul line. How big of a difference was that for you on the floor?
Always having Zion on the court is great. We obviously missed him at Fort Hayes.
Sure.
And him coming back for Kearney was great for us. And he's just a great leader, great teammate. So.
Yeah. Julius, I think, folks that have watched you, I think we know you for your shooting and scoring ability. I think you still lead this team in made threes, but it's your rebounding that's really been fun to watch. 9+ rebounds in 4 of the last 5 games for Dixon. In fact, now the number 5 rebounder in the MIAA, 6.5 boards per game. And that's not just luck. I mean, sometimes, rebounding is kind of a funny thing. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, other times it doesn't. But there's a lot of technique and work and physicality that goes into that. What have you been kind of working on to up those numbers for you?
Coach Will makes it really easy for me. He just tells me to go out there and just focus on rebounding, and the rest will follow. So I just try to focus and do my best on just rebounding. I think Andrew helping us in the weight room, getting us stronger, I think that takes a toll on it.
Yeah. Another one here for Julius Dixon, again, a senior guard/forward from Fayetteville, Tennessee, now in his 3rd year as a Griffin. And Juice, your 6th year in your collegiate career. You had a redshirt year mixed in there. It's been a terrific just watching you play. As you kind of just reflect on your decision to come here, you're playing at Morehead State at Division I, at least closer to where you grew up in Tennessee there. Now that you're in your senior year, as you reflect here with still lots of games to go, of course, but what are you most grateful for in your time here, and just what are kind of your hopes and expectations for the rest of this season?
I'm grateful for the coaching staff and the connections that I've made since I've been here, teammate-wise, and building friendships. Obviously, you want to win a lot of games, and scoring and having stats is good, but I think I'm going to remember just having and being able to build good relationships with my teammates that I can carry on later on in my life.
And Coach, in that same vein, what has this guy meant to you personally and as a player?
Yeah, I've known Julius for a long time. He's from the same area that I'm from. Yeah. His high school coach is from the town that my parents are from, in a small town in southern Tennessee. And there's a old kind of, it was a church back in the day, and some of my family have kind of like just taken that church over, and they use it for wedding venues and stuff like that. But when I was coming up, it was just kind of like an abandoned church, and his high school coach, me and him we put a hoop up in the church, and we used to play one-on-one. So I've known Julius for a while. His dad played at Lipscomb for Don Meyer. Sundance played for Don Meyer at Northern State, and a lot of people talk about Don Meyer after he left Nashville, but he was a Nashville legend before he became, a national legend. And so I knew Julius, I knew his character, I knew his family, and it was a really cool, kind of old school. You don't see it anymore. When I recruited him, it was an in-home visit in his living room with his mom and his dad, and it's really been family, and that's probably an overused word, unfortunately, in our business because people use it the wrong way. But with Julius, that's what it is. Like, we're family, and we're always going to have each other's back. And like he said, it's more about the relationships than anything else. But we also knew he was a really good player, and he's achieved a lot of great things, and he's got more to achieve the rest of the year.
Certainly. Well, trying to achieve some things here this week at home. You got Central Missouri, always a tough challenge, and then we get literally the best team in the country, at least right now, in our place on Saturday. Central Missouri tomorrow. Now, they're like us. They've been battling in the league. They're 4-4 in MIAA play like us, and they scored wins against Newman and Emporia State this past week. And, Washburn, you've probably seen, now number 1 in the country, 17-0, with 16 of those wins coming by double digits. Julius, starting with you at UCM, gritty, not pretty, right? That's been somewhat of a theme, right? A low-scoring battle, and a game in which you guys trailed for 85+%, but found enough energy there at the end of the first half and at the end of the second half to come away with the win. What's the biggest key as you get ready to face the Mules the second time?
I think keeping it simple, doing the things that we did in the first game to carry over, and I think starting with practice, just emphasizing just being focused and being aggressive. I think carrying those into tomorrow is going to help us win a game.
Yeah, and Coach, you and Brett Ballard go way back to your days at Tulsa, and a lot of familiar faces on that team with their bigs like a Michael Keegan and Andrew Orr, but man, they brought in a transfer guard, brought back Jack Batchelor, a sophomore, just a very balanced and at times dominant team. They hung 120 on Newman the other day, but exciting nonetheless when you get the best of the best in our house. I know that start, right, when they jumped on us 19-2, that probably stands out, but what's the UCM's first? I know, but what's going through your mind as you have Washburn this week?
There's zero synapses going off in my brain about Washburn right now. I'm focused on us having a great practice today. Yeah. We're focused on UCM. I told the guys, this UCM team is extremely talented, and when we went into the Kearney game, I don't like using this phrase much. You used it not improperly, but I didn't agree with the must win.
Yeah.
We went into Kearney, what did I say? I said it's a must win. And if you guys can't handle that, then you're soft. Like, we have to win that game, and we did. And UCM, they're going to be pushing that same narrative. They're 4-4 now in league. They just won 2 on the road. They're extremely talented. And so we're going to get a much better version of UCM than we had at their place. They're going to come in with a level of desperation and a level of urgency that we can't just match. We have to exceed. And so, like Julius said, that starts in practice today. And so I have no thoughts on Washburn. Call me on Wednesday night right after the game, and I'll be in my office working on Washburn. But right now we're focused on us first, and then UCM, and then we'll get to Washburn when we get there.
Yeah, it is game day eve today with those games coming up tomorrow at our house at 5:30 and 7:30 with the women leading us off. So get out of the cold, come in, support these Griffins. Big games coming up. They're all big at this point in the year. That's senior Julius Dixon, Coach Will Martin. Coach, we'll see you for the roundtable. Juice, thanks for coming up.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Oh, yeah, great job. Always appreciate when our athletes can give us some time. We'll take a short break, come back with our head coaches roundtable right after this from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. All right, we're back for our final segment, our coaches roundtable. Will Martin is back with us. We've got, and of course, Ashton Feldhaus. They've been good enough to do this the last few weeks. But Damian Stambersky, our head baseball coach, joining us for the first time. And Cody, I was telling you earlier, it feels like forever since you've been up here. So
I know.
It's good for you to be back. Yeah.
We'll find out if it's good.
Yeah, I know. And half of that is on me. But this is only, coaches, the second show of our new year. I just want to keep it simple to open up. Have you made a New Year's resolution? Have we given up on them already? Do you even believe in them? Any thoughts on New Year's resolutions in 2025?
I don't usually make them, but
No.
my wife started a reading one, so I said I would do it with her. She's trying to read 3 books a month for the whole year. I finished my 3rd one like a week in.
Nice.
And so I have not picked up a book in almost 2 weeks. So I probably should start getting ahead, but yeah.
Well, you bought that car, right? That Mustang, remember?
Yeah. But it's got cold. That thing, it's not allowed outside when there's salt on the ground or it's cold. So I started up on, Friday was that when it was like still spring for a day? Started up and Probably pissed off all my neighbors, but just sat in the driveway and ran it and then put it back in the garage. So that thing's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I became a YouTube mechanic over break, so that was cool. My hands don't function properly like in small spaces, so I probably broke more things than I fixed, but that's okay.
I'm becoming a YouTube home improver here recently.
Have fun, so. DIY home.
Yeah.
Great.
I guess just outside of that, I mean, everyone here wants to, win at a high level and win championships. But other than that, any goals in 2025, personal or professional? Have you had time to reflect on that?
I'm trying to be a better version of myself in terms of how I treat the athletes. I think a big thing that I've said in 25 years of coaching is I hate waste, and I need to reframe how I do that. And my version of waste is, for us, like a runner on third, less than 2 outs. You ought to score. And when we didn't score, I'd throw them a little tantrum in the dugout. So I'm trying to do that better, and I don't want to walk around like everything's unicorns and rainbows when it's not, but got to find a way to support the athlete a little bit better.
Yeah. I guess that being said, when you think back on 2024, Coach Feldhaus getting hired here, but other than that, what was maybe your favorite thing about 2024 as you look back? I mean, I know it's been a couple weeks since we turned the calendar, but anything in the past year that you're most grateful for as you think about it?
I'm grateful for all these guys. I mean, the pressure that they put on us to try to do what they do ahead of us, it's been good. It's fun. I mean, I think that's why we compete. We want to be good, and watching what the basketball programs, football last year, and in the track and volleyball and soccer, what they're doing, it really makes us raise the bar and feel like we're competing for something as a university, not just a program.
Yeah. Coaches, anything there?
I don't know how to top that.
We have
Damian on every week.
That was good, yeah. Well, Damian will be on the next few weeks, but, that is when they're not competing. All right, yeah, I guess the last thing, I always try to look at the holidays today. Now, it's always kind of funny just depending on what day it is. Today is National Hugging Day. I just want to pose this question. If you could hug one person today, who would it be?
Oh, you're going to make me cry, dude.
Yeah, I didn't.
They have to be alive?
No, not necessarily, no. Yeah.
I'd hug my dad.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah.
I shouldn't have talked about it, but we're good.
Yeah. Anything, coaches?
I felt the same way. I thought of someone who's not alive. I wish I could hug my grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson would be my
that's a good
definite go-to.
Yeah.
Would love to hug him and his whole family right now.
Yeah. Ashton?
Yeah, just my family in general. I feel like you ask all these questions about New Year's and stuff like that, but when we're in the thick of season, we don't even have
hard to think about.
Hard to think about. But I don't see my family too often. Christmas was the first time I'd seen them since last Christmas, just because of the profession. So my family, miss them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be careful out there in the streets. National Hugging Day. Use your today's world.
Yeah, they make
I'm a big hugger, so I've had to adjust because it's not as
it's a different world now.
Yeah, it's a different world, man. So use your own discretion. Make sure there's hugging consent. Hugging consent.
I was an anti-hug for so long, and then my wife is like a touch. That's her love language, and now I am touch, and she is the opposite. And it's so weird. I hug everybody I see. There's a coach, a coach that I'm friends with. And I saw him, and I walked up and I gave him a big old hug, and he was kind of he didn't know what to do because I've never hugged him before. And I was like, "Good to see you, buddy." And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I hug everybody." And maybe I don't, I guess. But it's the first time I hugged him.
We've got Cody Ingold tears right now.
That was bad.
Talking about hugging, man.
Yeah. I'm a hugger.
That's good. Well, whether you hug someone or not, just show someone some love and appreciation on National Hugging Day today. And it's never a bad day for
can I hug you?
Consent first.
You're good. No, you can, to be clear. But thank you, coaches. Good luck to those of you competing this week. All right, there you go. Thanks for our head coaches joining us to round out the show today. So we'll see you at Missouri Western Fieldhouse tomorrow for basketball, 5:30, 7:30. We're back there on Saturday. Tracks at Pittsburgh State on Friday as well. And, of course, baseball, softball starting not this week, but next weekend. So looking forward to that as well. And tennis, that's around the corner, too, on February the 1st. They'll start their season. This has been the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you podcast. And we'll be back at our normal time. We will be back on Monday, which will be January 27th at noon, right here at Hi-Ho. Until then, have a great rest of your week. So long.